well before anyone or anything else. We have spent our time studying, researching, and planning, as one day, these are lessons that will be handed down to our kids and our grandkids. We believe in buying a tag, even if we know we may not harvest an animal, as it will go to protecting the future for our kids. Now, we have taken it a step further. With every bag of bear beans sold, 10% will go to protecting the environment and animal populations, so the traditions that were handed down to us will get passed down once again.
Don't want y'all to miss out on this exclusive Hat Club deal. 20% off each month, $26 is the price, and you can get a hat just like this or this one and many more that we're coming out with that's going to be exclusive to our Hat Club. Click that link below and join our exclusive Hat Club. You don't want to miss out.
All right, we're down here on the, I think it's the largest estuary in the United States and the third largest in the world. You know what estuary is?
I may have learned about it. Time or two.
It's body of water partially surrounded by land, open up to the ocean. So it's a pretty neat place, especially neat here that we're so close to it. We get to enjoy all the resources it has for us. We're here with Beackwhackers Waterfowl, and we're going to go on a veterans hunt tomorrow. I'm really excited about it. Thank y'all for having me down the podcast and enjoy the weekend a little bit I get to be here. The wife ended up trying to do a little girls trip going out this weekend, so I got to go home and watch the kids. But we'll start with you. Why don't you introduce you, Jared? You've been on the podcast once for a short segment, but we'll start with you, and then we'll go over to you and just introduce everybody real quick.
All right, yeah, no. I'm Jared Vann, one of the founders and owners, I guess, of Beackwhackers Waterfowl.
All right.
So I'm Jason. He is the founder. He brought me on. I dove right in when he brought the idea to me. So, yeah, we've known each other for years.
Yeah. Well, I met Jared at the Virginia Outdoor Sportsman Show last year in August. We kind of hit it off then. You met Ben, my best friend.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
He swiped a hat, and I got the shirt. And I was like, hey, what the heck's going on here? But
I gave him first pick.
We've been trying to get this together for a couple hunts now. I'm trying to come down and see y'all. And it's neat how this is working out. Get to meet 3 great guys down from Pennsylvania this weekend, veterans that are going to go out on duck hunt tomorrow. But one of the things I enjoyed coming down past Fredericksburg, I kind of got 3 funny things that I witnessed coming down the road. I was coming down the road, and I'm in the environmental consulting business, so I kind of pay attention to a few things, especially when it's development. And there's a little bit of development going on right past Fredericksburg on 17. And, we get fussed at anytime trucks track mud and stuff out on the roads. And then there's it looked like a dirt road.
Yeah.
And so I just thought that was funny. And I come down here because it kind of gets into just big farmland, almost a different place than where I live at, even though I'm from a rural area. And then I got to come down some more, and it looked like over in a wheat field, because I'm always paying attention to the fields looking for game and wildlife, there was a Toyota Corolla, like 400 yards off the road, stuck in the wheat field. And then a little mini utility van that was, I guess, tried to pull them out, and it was stuck. It had the front wheels just buried. I was like, well, this is the only thing you kind of see coming down this way.
Yep.
So then the third thing, which I just enjoy coming into the Northern Neck there. Northern Neck Burger is a good place to eat. I don't know if y'all ate there, but
Time or two.
yeah. We can tell.
You can't pass that place up.
And then coming over the bridge and just seeing kind of, it just, you kind of go into a different total zone from like where I'm at. So it's pretty neat, but I'm really glad y'all had me down this weekend. I think it's going to be awesome getting to meet and hang out with these 3 guys and film tomorrow. I hope, we kind of talked about if there's some misses. We might do some B-roll and throw some ducks in there after the bang bang. But, Jared, I think, you have an awesome story. Just kind of a little bit we had on the first segment that we did at the show. So why don't you go into Beackwhackers, where it came from, because I know it's got a really neat story behind the name.
Yeah.
And, just go into your passion and where this has come from and where you want it to go.
Yeah. So Beackwhackers started out as just 4, 5, 6 dudes hunting every weekend, every holiday, and we all kind of got together drinking, hanging out in the garage, and we were like, we got to call ourselves something, and one of my other buddies goes, Beackwhackers is it. We're gonna call ourselves Beackwhackers, and everyone's kind of like, all right, yeah, we'll go with it. Like, no one clearly had anything much better, and and it kind of stuck. It was funny, and I'll touch on it a little bit later. But ducks don't have beaks, but it is what it is. So that kind of formed into our little, I don't know, quote unquote hunt club.
Mm-hmm.
There was a couple of us, and that's what we were doing. I mean, it was just guys getting together hunting every day.
Were you involved yet?
Yep. So the first year they started hunting together, I was actually deployed with the Virginia Army National Guard, and the following year when I came back is when I got involved with the quote unquote club.
Yep.
Yep. So we started that club, and so we hunted every day, every weekend, whatever, and me and my wife were talking. I had this great idea. It's going to help us out. We're going to do YouTube videos. We're going to sell shirts, sell hats. It's going to be a great time. We're going to promote our hunt club.
So what I'm doing right now has a dark ending for me?
No, not necessarily. We're going to do all these things, and it's going to be great. We're going to make videos, and everyone's going to enjoy it, and we're going to get sponsors.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to be the next big thing on
YouTube.
Not even. We're gonna start YouTube, but we're gonna go to the outdoor channel.
We're gonna be the next Duck Commander.
Yeah,
that's where
whatever it is,
big
and and everyone else was kind of like, yeah, that's a good idea,
That's cool.
that's
cool.
like, I guess we could be in on it, and me being, and they're all like, but we need everything. We need, bring me the figures, bring me this, bring me that. I'm like, screw figures, screw that, man. I got this idea. We're running with it, man. Like, I don't care what you think. This is a great idea, and they're all like, oh, okay, like, all right, yeah. So,
I'm out.
yeah, and everyone kind of like hung around for a little bit, but yeah, for the most part, you should never do this to friends, and I did this. I strong armed them pretty much into trying to do this, and I think everyone has the right idea. They want to do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Until it comes time to do it,
right,
and then it's like, hey, we're going on this great hunt today. Who wants to film? And yeah, all of a sudden those hands start coming down. Like, this is a great idea, but not for filming, not for me another day.
I want to shoot.
And they're like, man, we've been seeing 50 mallards come in this hole. We gotta bang it up, and no one's gonna want to miss that, right? No, everyone wants to be pulling the trigger. Everyone wants to be part of the kill,
right?
And so that was the slow downfall of all that, right? Like, it was very obvious, and you can only get but so much crappy GoPro footage. People that get bad angles, and for me filming, half the shots I get, the kill shot ends up on my boot, or
you're trying to reach for the gun too,
reaching for the gun, or being like so excited for the shot, not paying attention, not looking through the camera. I'm watching through my eyes and be like, I got this one for sure, right? And yeah, so that's kind of where it went, and then so we started doing veteran hunts. We were still in LLC, and just none the wiser. I'm thinking that's how I need to do it, like it's a business. And I brought up to the guys, says, hey, I want to do veteran hunts. I want to help out. Like I've helped out with another nonprofit called the Some Gave All Motorcycle Ride,
mm-hmm.
and we've helped out with the years. I mean, they're family friends of ours, and a big reason behind what I'm doing starts there. Mm-hmm. Quite honestly, a gentleman, he was in the National Guard, and his name's Nick Mason, and he lost his life over in Iraq. I believe it was Mosul, and and that was part of where the whole Some Gave All ride started, right? And I became very good friends and family friends with his parents and their family, and we are all just one big Brady bunch, and finally I got to the point where I said, I love doing what I'm doing, helping you guys, but I need something of my own,
mm-hmm.
or something to help out. I want to give back doing something else. And one day we were drinking, having a party someplace, and Nick's dad was there. He's a huge duck hunter in the county. Huge and idol, in my opinion. And I go to him and I go, what do you think about doing this? He goes, what are we waiting on? Let's start now. Let's do it. And I was like, I don't think I was really expecting that, like, that kickoff of it, you know? And so I got kind of his approval from it, you know, and I go back to the guys, and they all go, it's great. Jason's first one on board, like, sign me up, where I got to be, what time, boss? Like, I'm there, and I'm in. And all the other guys were like, you know, I'm in. I want to help. It is a great cause.
Yep.
And, you know, it's, since then, it is slightly dwindled down because, you know, everyone has life, everyone has family, jobs going on. It's not always easy to be like, hey, I'm going to go hunting for 3 days for, not myself, but for others. And, you know, taking leave, and not only do you have leave for your personal life, but then you have this. And, you know, it's hard. So that's and now we're almost right where we are now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's,
4 out of the originals now have kids that didn't when we started.
Yeah, that makes it tough.
And I think just about everyone has at least 2 kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes it real tough.
2 kids moving up in life and jobs, you know, and it ain't easy. And like I said, it probably jaded a bunch of people at first when I was like, LLC, jam it down your throat. Like, you don't need to, you know, and they're all like, man, Jared's really pushing this hard, man. We don't need to be, like, should we really think about this? But, yeah.
Well, let me come back to you because I do have a part of the story I want you to continue with. But what was your mindset through this whole situation? I know he said you were kind of like right on board with it, ready to go. But I mean, being in the military and stuff like that, and work, and it's a lot.
It is a lot to take on, and my wife and my family is very supportive of it. They understand it's a passion of mine. I'm a veteran myself, you know, with the Virginia National Guard. And so when he came to me, being his best friend, it's one of those, hey, it's a great idea, and I back you 100% with it, right? I don't get anything out of it besides the enjoyment of giving back to a group of people that, you know, I've either served with or have chewed some of the same dirt with.
Yeah.
You know, one of the guys we got with us going tomorrow, we've actually walked on some of the same ground, in years apart, but we've been on the same ground.
Where was that at?
Iraq.
Yeah.
You can tell me he's old. It's okay.
Yeah. Was it 04?
0405.
0405, and I was there in 2011. So years apart, but we chewed some of the same dirt.
Yeah.
We know what, you know, Jared brings the giving back and the wanting to give something for people that gave so much to him, right? And I bring the knowledge and understanding of what some of these vets have gone through, right?
No, it's definitely a dynamic duo.
Yeah,
to be honest,
I've been through a lot of those situations with them. I have some understanding there.
Yeah,
and just getting on board, it was, for me, I was married at the time. I jumped on board and hadn't even cleared it with household 6 yet, you know? So it was one of those.
That went well?
Yeah. I came home and it was kind of a little argument at first, but then the passion there came out, and it was like, okay, you're serious about this, and I'm here.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Well, Jared, there's a little bit of part of the story that you've missed out on, and if you're okay with going into it, I think it's an important part. But I know that you had a willing to be in the military and serve too, and then this also kind of sparked your interest of this is your way to give back. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, no, so growing up, I came from, my dad was in the military, my grandfather was in the military, just about my entire family, you know, dad's side of it was, and now being married, my wife is, right? And now looking back, I wish I would have went in a whole lot earlier on this mindset, because I think I would have been a lot better off in life, or at least maybe not better off in life, but a better appreciation for a lot of things. But you know, so when I was, after everything had happened, I graduated high school, went to school, thought I knew what I wanted to do. I ended up getting sick. Right about the same time, I really showed interest.
18 or so?
No, I was 21 actually.
21?
Yeah. Okay. I showed interest in wanting to go in the military, and because I got laid off, the Great Recession of 2008, whatever it was, 2009 happened, you know, and there's nothing else I could really do, you know, and but then I ended up getting diagnosed with cancer, and it kind of shut that door for me a little bit, you know. And I'm sure now if I really pushed it, or if I would have pushed it much more after that, I think I would have been able to follow that. But knowing what I know now, like you said, I would have knocked down that door and, you know, like a bull. But now it's now looking back, I regret not doing that. But it's something that I know without a doubt what I'm doing, giving back, is helping out, and because I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking you're in the place you're supposed to be in, because, you know, we got 3 guys here with us tonight that are going to really enjoy what you all are doing. You understand what all of them have gone through, the boot camp, you know, signing up, kind of the sacrifice side of it, and you know, you have the understanding of the hunt, and which we'll find out tomorrow how much of it.
Yeah, we'll see.
If the ducks show up.
Hopefully they got my
Bring
tweet.
your fishing poles. That way we can do that if the ducks don't fly.
I sent the tweet. They're supposed to be there at 7:30, boys, so you just be ready.
Yeah. But, no, this is awesome. What do y'all think? You know, I know we've talked about it a little bit tonight with everybody around the fire outside, and had a great dinner. I really appreciate that. Filled the belly. But what do y'all see going forward, the vision for Beackwhackers? I mean, I know there's probably some different angles you can probably take. I know you want to continue it, and, you know, sometimes the financial sides of it when you're doing it on your own is the biggest hurdle you have to get into. So, especially when you're getting off the ground, you know, just like the podcast here and the things I'm doing, you really have to go out on your own and really start, you know, knocking on doors or meeting people like at the show. So, you know, what's your vision going forward?
You know, I'd be lying if I said that every hunt we had, I didn't have Sika or Mojo or somebody, you know, not necessarily their pro staff hanging out, but, you know, they donated a lot of stuff and been like, hey, congratulations, guys, I got you a new set of waders. I got all this.
Right.
I'd be lying if I said I wouldn't want that. Because who wouldn't want that? That'd be awesome, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at the same token, I've really enjoyed working with some of our local community, our stores, our, you know, our businesses, the small businesses that help out. I mean, some of those guys, they you know, they're just making ends meet just for themselves, you know, and they're like, this is what you're doing? What can I give? What can I do? I'll be there.
Yeah.
I'll, you know. So it's hard for me to look past where we're at now, to be honest with you. I look at them like we're doing a hunt camp feeling. Everyone comes down to the little cabin. We cook outside. There's 6 of us. We hang out. We tell lies about hunting, you know, and, you know, it'd be hard to say that I don't think it'd get much better than this.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Just
in
keep
years
being
to come,
consistent.
I mean, in years to come, it would be nice to have more hunts, you know,
Right.
and I'm sure even today, if we wanted to, we could still probably do a hunt almost every weekend if we really wanted to. But then, I mean, selfishly, it cuts into our own love for the
We
sport.
enjoy hunting too. Yeah.
You know, I mean, we do, and also my wife would probably kill me. And I think I speak for everyone up here. Like, she's been a big influence in all of what we've done with Beackwhackers. So I've said this before on your podcast, you know, I'm just a pretty face. She's the brains behind the operation, and
Right.
anybody that's ever met my wife knows that's a darn lie.
Right.
But I know, honestly, like, you know, she's been the huge backing in it, and she would probably kill me if I said, "Hey, I'm doing 16 hunts this year."
Yeah.
If you got any room to sleep at your house, you know.
Exactly.
I'm really happy. You know, if we could keep it to 3-4 very personal hunts a year, I don't want anybody to ever think that they're just a number. You know,
Right.
you're much more than that to us. You're much more than that to me. Everything we do is for you guys, for them. It's everybody. And
I think one of our biggest goals is to keep that family feel.
Mm-hmm.
When we bring guys down, you are part of our family.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's not something we want to get away from.
And you can see it, how we were at the fire tonight eating dinner. I mean, I'd never even talked to these guys or even met you, Jason, and it feels like we've known each other for a long time. And the reason why I asked that question is because I think it's important. There's a lot of people that are trying to do, you know, something in the hunting industry. So this is also trying to help, you know, promote them in a certain light. But as far as the podcast and things I'm trying to do, sometimes you get so caught up into what's next, you forget to really enjoy the now, the
Oh,
present. And, you know, we got 3 guys here tonight that I want to make sure we invest time into, and not just them, but the next ones that you have and stuff like that. So I think that's really, I mean, you had a great answer because I think that's exactly what you said, but I was going for more trying to encourage that.
Yeah, no,
because
I get it.
people that are trying to create something, I mean, all of you know, you start almost forgetting what your actual purpose is behind what you're doing, and get too far into like your wheel spinning. You're kind of just spinning mud, what you feel like, and then it can also make things just go to heck.
And my wife will be the first to tell you, I'm terrible at it. I am the idea man.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. We're going to talk about something right now, and I'm already 3 steps ahead of you, thinking about how we're going to do it even bigger, better, and faster the next time. You know, and
that's just how a man's great mind works.
I think so. It's a great mind.
Yeah.
But it is easy to look past it, but knowing what we've done and where we've been at like the past few years, I don't think I would want to change anything at the moment. I mean, it would be nice to have some people to show interest and show backing and want to help more, you know, and I don't think anybody would never not want that, you know. I mean, I'd love to be walking down the street and, you know, nowhere, Virginia or, you know, whatever, Florida, and be like, man, he's got a Beackwhacker hat on or shirt. Like, and knowing that everything that they did, buying that hat or that shirt or whatever, is going back 110% to support the veterans and taking them on hunts and putting them up and buying their hunt licenses and everything else.
Yeah. Well, I think that kind of takes me into my next kind of segment I want to go to is, you know, I think with nonprofits and stuff, sometimes the biggest issue is like, where does this money go to? You know, we're going to reach people on the podcast. I'm going to have it on the YouTube channel. Where does the money go to when people donate? Because sometimes they give it to you, and sometimes you're like, well, that ain't really what I thought that was going to go to. But I think, you know, what you said, you can definitely see that it goes straight to what you're doing.
Yeah, and I think, you know, obviously we don't have it recorded or on film or whatever, but we were sitting around dinner and talking at the fire and everything, you know. That was not the whole reason, but a big part of why I decided to venture out on my own and not get behind some other big organization just putting on hunts, is because I can sit here 100% and say every dime, every dollar you put in my hand goes right back to these 3 gentlemen here. It goes back to the ones behind them and the next year's hunts. And we buy licenses, we buy food, we put them up in rooms, whether it be at this cabin or hotels. I mean, whatever needs to happen. Shotgun shells. If you know, now I'm not saying that they didn't bring extra shells because you know, I think they understand. But you know, but there should be no want, right? Like we have everything for them if they want it, if they need it. And there's been years that we've taken people duck hunting that have never duck hunted before.
Right.
So the purpose of all it is to supply them with at least to be comfortable in this hunt.
Yeah.
And then hopefully get them the bug that we all have. You know, if you've ever been waterfowling, you know, like, it's hard one to buy, you know, to get rid of.
Right. Yeah, you know, I went down last, I guess it was September, when I went to the Hands of a Sportsman event. I think I was telling you about it too, but it was a disabled hunt down in North Carolina with a group, Hands of a Sportsman, who's on one of the earlier podcast episodes, and I'd never really been to a type of event like that or a veterans hunt like this, but the impact that I saw in that situation was, there's not money that could touch it. You know, I got to see people just forget about their disability in that weekend. You know, and I know with the vets, you know, they go through a lot of different things that a lot of people don't understand anything about. The things that they see, the things that they do. You know, there's a big difference between a civilian life and a military life, which you, Jason, have a huge understanding about, which I'm going to lean on you a little bit on this. But have you seen this impact, you know, people when they're here? Or what do you think they get?
We've had a couple veterans come out, and you can tell when they get here, you know, they'll be quiet, right? And, you know, you get talking to them, and then I share kind of my background with them, and they'll start to open up. And then you'll see that fire.
Yeah.
Right? They come in, they're on this hunt, they don't know what to expect. And once you get to talking with them, hey man, what branch of service were you in? What'd you do? Things like that. And, oh yeah, man, I was here during during these years, and this is where I've done, and it's not a one-up thing. It's to build that rapport.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So let them know that, hey, we're here as friends. We're not here just, putting a notch on a belt for us.
Right.
We're here for you.
Investing
In you, and if we can help you with whatever you got going on, whether it's PTSD or a physical disability, or mental health is rampant in the U.S. military right now. If we can, give you an out,
a happy place,
a happy place to go.
That's right.
Because a lot of my stress gets relieved as soon as I step foot on that boat, or step foot in that blind, or step foot in my waders to go trudging through a marsh at 5 o'clock in the morning. Most people will look at me and go, "You're crazy," but that's my happy place, right? That's where the world stops and all the worries go away from me. So, and that military life, like you said, is different. And being in the National Guard and in a reservist, you get the feel of both sides.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand.
You can relate.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, right? I know it, and then I understand the juggling of the civilian side too.
Yeah, it's funny that you kind of said that about your release kind of comes when you get out in the woods. Here in a few minutes we're going to go into what this season is the Faithful Outdoorsman series that I started this season. This will be third or fourth podcast, I think, now, starting this new season. And one of the things that I found interesting about when I started reading into the New Testament is, we did a podcast last week on John the Baptist. John the Baptist was a man of the wilderness. He lived in the wilderness. He had camel hair clothes. He ate locusts and honey. I mean, he was a man of my heart. Like that, if I was back then, that's my job. That's what I want to do. So it's neat because the verse that I have on my Instagram page is Genesis 9:2-3, where God gives us animals for our nutrition. He gives us domain. They become afraid. That's where the hunt began. That's where the origin of hunting began in my vision, and that's where why that's important to me. But the outdoors is a release, and every time you read in the New Testament that Jesus either had a big sermon or performed the miracles, the first place he went to, if you look, is the wilderness. Went to the wilderness to pray, went to the wilderness to get away. And to me, that just signifies that is our battery recharging station. So it's neat because I think we all feel that way, and I think I'm sure everybody that's here, it's just their place to get away. But yeah, I that's how I correlated all that. I don't know if that struck you all the same way or not.
I don't think you're wrong at all, personally.
Yeah,
I think we're one and the same on that.
Yeah. Well, what else about Beackwhackers? Do you want to go anything else? We cover everything? About it? What can we expect for tomorrow? Since you have scouted all the birds out.
We got them. Like I said, I sent the tweet. They'll be here as long as the boys shoot straight. Limits by 9:30.
I got to confirm the reservation. I'll confirm the reservation after this.
If it's not limits by 9:30, dinner's on them.
We're doing a brunch reservation, yeah. Well, I think I've told y'all a story. I'm not going to share one of the stories that I told earlier. But this would probably be my second time going on big water and hunting. Where I'm from, we've always hunted cornfields for waterfowl and stuff. So I'm really looking forward to just getting out there and seeing. We're gonna have a lot of footage, hopefully tomorrow, of a lot of birds getting shot. We're going to have this on our YouTube page. We're going to have this. Yes, I see them praying already.
Yeah. Please. Shot at.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're looking forward to it. I'm really thankful y'all have had me down. I think this cabin here, we're on a cabin right outside the mouth of the Chesapeake Bay. I think this is Cockerel Creek or something like that.
This one is Cockerel Creek. Yeah. So, real quick, we're at Ingram Bay Marina.
Ingram Bay Marina.
And on Chesapeake, the closest marina to the bay is what I was informed to this morning or this afternoon about. Yeah. She made a point. I'm telling you, the closest, and it is. You'll see tomorrow. We're gonna put the boat in the water, and you will be in the bay in a matter of seconds. Yeah. They got 2 nice cabins, and they actually have a house that's for rent. Yeah. They do daily, weekly.
You actually sent me the address to the house.
Oh, yeah.
And I was about to pull in there. I was like, this doesn't look like Garrett's up and it's dark. Didn't want to go knock on the door and get a gun in the face or something.
They do. I mean, but I'm telling you, they do have
this far in the northern neck. You better.
Exactly. I was about to call you. And I was like, no, I think they're down there. I see them waving.
Yeah. They have the setup. I mean, if you love fishing, just boating or hunting, like
Yeah.
It's all here. It's all right here. If you can't, you don't look no farther, really.
Yeah, my family actually has a place in Deltaville, so it's not too far from here.
But yeah, it's right across the bridge.
Yeah. So we used to come down and go, summer there and stuff, but it's a private beach, and the person who lived on the beach would let us use it. Well, that's kind of gone to the wayside now, so we just have the house, which is really nice. My grandma still goes there and kind of uses it to get away, but I ended up actually going to summer school because I almost failed 6th grade at Christ Church, the big school down here, going towards Deltaville. And I had to go. It was either summer school there, and my mom was like, well, if you always fail with the teachers there, I'm not going to send it back there. So I got to go there, and I ended up doing, they had like sailing and all. I mean, it was just stuff that I was never even used to. Like the first day I was sailing, the boom came around, hit me in the head, knocked me in the water. I thought I had a concussion. Tried to get home out of getting, mom was like, nope, you're staying down there. You got to go to summer school.
So it's purposeful is what you're telling me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I tell you what, you get down the Northern Neck, I think there's stages. Like you come into the Northern Neck, King George, Stafford area. I mean, you're in 2023 now, right?
Yeah.
Like you're in 23, and every mile you get closer and closer to Chesapeake Bay down the Northern Neck, it gets farther back in time.
Starts going back.
It is, I'm telling you. And
well, it's actually nice. I enjoy it.
It is especially for somebody like me. Me and Jay talked about this on the way down. I was born in the wrong time.
Yeah.
I can for a fact tell you that. I was born in the wrong time. There was a wire mix-up somewhere.
We were talking about family, right? And our kids, my daughter's getting ready to start kindergarten next year, and talking about school and everything like that. And we just kept like, man, we're terrified. Yeah. I'm terrified.
Yeah.
So it's like it's the wrong time. We needed to have kids. We needed to be born like 30 years ago, 40 years ago, right? Back. Oh dang. That's when we were born. We're getting old, man. So, like
30 years
60,
before that?
Yeah, like 60 years ago now.
Yeah.
And that way have our kids.
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
It's nerve-wracking to see with, what the world's going to look like in a few more years when my girls, long time now before my girls get in high school. But the biggest thing, I think all of us here probably have really good values that we can help instill in them, and hopefully, world doesn't suck them up, but all we can do is help.
All you can do is
put them in the right direction.
That's all you can do is try.
Yeah. I think just like us, we were probably in a different time than our parents, and they were probably nervous about things
probably
too.
The same thing.
Exactly.
Nobody had a cell phone until we started coming along, and everybody's like,
now you can't live with that one.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think this is a good time to go into the Faithful Outdoorsman series segment of this. I wanted to tailor it to kind of the military and stuff. I didn't know how to do that. I was thinking about, we're coming off John the Baptist last week in Mark 3. We're in Mark 4 now, so if you want to follow along. The biggest thing that I was trying to correlate is just try to be relatable to this weekend. I kind of went over it with you, Jason, a little bit, and I think I'm going to lean on you a little bit about it. But sacrifice is something that obviously the Bible talks about a lot because Jesus was the ultimate sacrifice and died for our sins. But when I think about that in this weekend, all these guys here that were in the military, they sacrificed time, they sacrificed a livelihood, and then obviously, some of them that didn't make it home sacrificed an ultimate sacrifice as well. And it's sad to me to see some, I don't feel like our country does the best once everybody gets home, and people like y'all giving them a way out of whatever's going on or helping provide a service to them. That's just individuals doing good things. That's from the heart, right? But sacrifice was a big thing for me that I wanted to talk about and kind of relate to. And then we're going to go into Mark 4 here. But I wanted to read real quick something neat that I found on sacrifice. The term sacrifice derives from the Latin, I can't really say this, so, y'all look it up if you need to, sacrificium, which is a combination of the words sacer, meaning something set apart from the secular or profane for the use of supernatural powers. So right there, when you think about military and stuff, you're literally going away from a civilian life to something that's way more powerful and different than just a normal civilian life. So I think that was pretty neat. And then F-A-C-E-R-E, facier. I don't know if that's how you say it in Latin, but that is the meaning to make. So to make something set apart from the secular or profane for the use of supernatural powers. So when you sign that dotted line to go into the military, I mean, that's really what you're signing up for, is do something not a lot of people want to do or can do. And then, obviously, not knowing what's on the other side of that, I mean, that's a huge sacrifice, and we appreciate everybody's sacrifice, whether it was time or whether it was their life. But, going into Matthew 4, we're coming off John the Baptist. John had just baptized Jesus in this situation. And it wasn't till this point that really Jesus had kind of kicked off his miracles and his sermons and his ministry. Actually, it was right after that. But before that, he knew he had to kind of go through stuff. And if you look at the story of Jesus as you're going through Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, they're similar depictions of when he was here on earth from their point of views. And what I'm trying to get at is boxes had to be checked, for him to get to his end destination, and he knew it. So he got baptized by John the Baptist, and then he went straight into the desert, and he didn't eat for 40 days, and he was tempted by the devil 3 different times while he was there. And Jason, I'm going to kind of lean on you with this a little bit, but what's one thing boot camp, or if you think about the Navy SEALs or what they go through, what does boot camp do to a person, and what's really the meaning behind it?
So, boot camp, basic training, whatever branch you're in, they all have their own name for it. It's meant to break you down. Mm-hmm. Break you down to just bare, person, and build you back up. Make you into a soldier, an airman, a sailor, right? It's there to get rid of your bad habits and what you've learned on the civilian side, and teach you how to
answer the call.
Yeah. What we expect, what the nation expects of you, what your country expects,
and prepares you for what's coming ahead.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah, I mean, I obviously have not been in the military. I mean, the most I guess I've been close to is summer preconditioning for baseball, and I'm sure that doesn't even hold a candle to it. So, I do want to read it real quick, and I'm going to open my Bible here on my phone, so just bear with me for a second. But Matthew 4, right after he was baptized, then Jesus was led in the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted of the devil. So the first temptation, he was already hungry, he was worn down. And usually I think that the devil's probably using the situation because he was broken down, and that's probably when you're at your most vulnerable. The tempter came to him and he said, "If thou art the Son, command these stones to be bread." So the first thing he tempted him with was food. And well, you can tell on us, we enjoy food, and it'd probably be hard for us to turn that down. Yeah. But and then he answers with this: "It is written, man shall not live on bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God." So, okay, he got me there. Next, he goes on and says, he takes him up to a high point, and he says this: "Saith unto him, if thou be the Son of God, cast thyself down, for it is written, He shall give his angels charge concerning thee, and in their hands they shall bear thee up, lest at any time thou dash thy foot against a stone. Jesus answered him, It is written again, Thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy God." Answers him right back with, Scripture. "Again the devil taketh him up into an exceeding high mountain, and showeth him all the kingdoms of the world." So now he's tempting him with, worldly things, which a lot of us go through, and it's easy because it's something that's tangible and is there. And he says, "Get back from me, Satan, for it is written, Thou shalt worship the Lord God, and Him only shalt thou serve." So Jesus gets tempted 3 times, and it's funny how things continue to go in threes. If you think about the Trinity, think about the death, resurrection, the death, and then dying, and then the resurrection. To me, that I'm trying to correlate this to how Jesus went into this situation. He, as being all-knowing, he knew what was going to happen in the situation, which I'm sure you all kind of have a little bit of idea what you're probably getting into, but it broke him down to make sure that he was able to get ready for what was to come. And I think that's the biggest point I want to drive there. How did you feel going through? How long were you in there in boot camp? How long is that?
Oh man, that's been a minute ago. So I think basic training when I went through was like 9 weeks, and then we had 6 weeks for infantry school.
Yeah.
So it was there roughly, I think 14 weeks, something, 15 weeks somewhere
Yeah.
there. I can't even remember back then, but
Yeah.
you're there a long time.
Yeah.
You know, and for a lot of people, it's their first time away from home.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and so I guess they used psychological type tactics. They used, what did you go through that
So-
you really kind of stood out to you?
There's a lot of psychological stuff that goes on, and you know, and when everybody sees it on TV, what was the show? I think it was on Discovery years ago, where they went into like buds and the ranger school and things like that, and all they show is the
Physical.
and the yelling that's coming at individuals, and it's not there. They're not yelling at to be mean, right? It's part of that breaking down process, right? It's part of to get you stressed, right? Because when you stress and your anxiety increases, you don't necessarily are thinking clearly, right?
Yeah, not the
But
right
you,
choices.
yeah, you don't make the best choices, and in the military, as these guys can attest to you, if you make a bad choice, it has the potential for catastrophic consequences. You know, you make the ultimate sacrifice, or because your choice could lead to your buddy making an ultimate sacrifice.
And I think, real quick, I'm going to stop you there, and I don't mean to cut you off, but that's a big point. Because Jesus knew in going this what he was going to go through. He was going to be tempted at the lowest point probably of his life, because he lived a human life.
Yeah.
And until this point, he really didn't start really trying to show people who he was, because he knew it was time. But when you think about making the wrong choice because it could affect your buddy, think about if he slipped up, well, the whole world and who's to come after him, it's going to affect all of us. And luckily, he made all the right choices. But, you know, coming out of that, what was the biggest thing you looked forward to on the other side of boot camp? Was it getting back home to family? What was something that kept you going?
For me, it was getting back home to family. You know, and I knew going into this that being it was National Guard, I was going to go back home to a part-time military civilian lifestyle. So it was getting back home with my friends and doing the things that I enjoy. Getting back in the tree stand for bow season. You know, getting back in the swamp in the swamp and the marsh for duck season. Right, getting in the goose field. That's the stuff that kept me going. It's 9 weeks. It's 3 more weeks. It's just not necessarily doing the countdown, because the countdown will screw you up in the head more than anything.
Marking off days on the calendar.
If I told you people in basic didn't do it, I'd be lying to you. But even this last deployment, I never once did a countdown calendar. That does not work for me.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you see the days going down, but you also see how far you have to go.
Exactly. Right. I think I started counting down when they came out with our plan of when our replacements, which was a couple weeks before we left, when they said, "Oh, here's the date for the replacements." Okay, we know we're a few weeks out. That's not that bad, right? And then I can start my countdown, because it's you're seeing the light at the end of that tunnel.
Right.
So, for me, it was getting back home to my friends and getting in the tree stand and doing what I enjoy and getting that release and getting that reset.
Right. Well, just kind of playing off of that, the next part of this, then the devil left him, and behold, angels came down and ministered to him. Well, I looked up the word minister, and it just pretty much means attend to, in the verb, it means to attend to the needs of someone. So, I mean, even though you were looking forward to it, those things were attending to your needs of replenishment, of charging your battery, of helping you get through a situation, whether it be hunting, whether it be, the relationships you had back home. So it's neat how this is kind of correlating. I'm glad that I was able to kind of tie this in, but kind of going from there, what's the kind of the next steps after that, especially when you start getting your ticket to deployment?
So, from the National Guard standpoint, you're civilian, you get your orders, right? Hey, you're leaving. I got out of basic in 2010, and it was probably within 6 months I had my orders to go to Iraq for my first deployment in 2011. And that's when kind of reality sets in, because, most National Guard, most reservists, they're joining, and people look at a good National Guard. Why are they going to Iraq? Why are they going to Afghanistan? You know, they're the National Guard, and from my standpoint, it's like National Guard or not. I still, when I took my oath, I took 2 oaths.
Right.
One was to support and defend the Constitution of the United States, and the second one was to support and defend the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia.
Yeah.
So my mission is multifaceted as a National Guards member. But for me, it was, a lot of people think it's weird. It didn't affect me mentally. Like, hey, I signed on that line. I knew this was a risk going into it. I knew this could happen.
And that's the call.
And that's the call. I'm answering the call. And we talked earlier about one of my favorite Bible verses that actually helped me sign on that line was what Isaiah 6:8. You know, the Lord said to Isaiah, "Who shall we send?" Isaiah responded, "I am here, send me."
Right.
And that's one of the biggest Bible verses
That's awesome.
that helped me make the decision to sign.
Yeah.
And knowing that, it's all 3 deployments I've been on is like, well, time to go do my job.
Yeah.
Right? I train.
This is what it's for. Getting real now.
This is my job.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, it kind of correlating back to this verse right after that, Jesus begins to do his ministry. That was pretty much his campaign, his tour.
Yep.
Had started there. And then moving down, you know, he starts walking by the Sea of Galilee, and he starts coming across the fishermen, and all of a sudden he starts gathering his troops, if you kind of relating it back to the military, his disciples, and it's not like a lukewarm thing. It's you know, drop your nets, get the fish. Okay, you got them. Now they're like, okay, who's this guy? You know, he just told us to drop his nets, and we haven't caught fish in this area for a whole night or last couple of days. We drop them over, and we can't even pull them in the boat. And it was just a thing of testament of, okay, I got to start showing people who I am. And he says, okay, drop your nets, you're done. Follow me, you'll become fishers of men. And onwards from there, he begins to collect his disciples, you know, going from there, which is, like I said, is kind of like what I'm saying is kind of like your troops. And to be honest with you, the whole time he was doing that, you know, Rome had a huge, you know, grasp on this area. They were paying the taxes to Rome. That's who was, you know, and the whole time that this was going on, you know, his disciples start seeing these things he can do, healing the blind and healing the sick and doing these different miracles. And they're like, okay, and feeding the 5,000 with fish and 5 loaves of bread and a couple fish. They're like, okay, he's making an army. And that's really what they thought. They thought that he was going to make an army. Our leader can't be killed because of all these things he's doing. And we're going to overthrow Rome. But the whole time, which kind of gets back to the purpose of Beackwhackers Waterfowl, is don't miss the actual meaning behind the now and what's going on. Because the whole time what he was doing was doing something much greater. So he was setting it up, setting the stage for the 3 years that he was walking around this earth from 30 to 33 before he was killed, to be able to take our sins, which is should be a huge weight lifted off of our chest, because we're on this side of it. You know, before that, I was talking about Mary and Joseph having getting pregnant, and to me, if my wife came to me and was like, I'm pregnant, and I'm like, we ain't done nothing. You know, so what kind of faith did they have, you know, to believe this? So now the biggest thing that I'm trying to portray here and put out here is we have the easy side of history. 2023 years ago, based off of our calendar, he walked this earth, he died for our sins, and we know about it. It's documented. And you know, he ultimately sacrificed his life, and then he obviously beat death, which was, you know, the biggest part of it. But the sacrifice is the biggest thing, because like all of you, you've sacrificed time, you sacrificed a life, and obviously a lot of people have sacrificed their actual life and haven't come back. So I am very appreciative of it. You know, as much as we owe, you know, all these guys here a piece of our life and gratitude, I just thought it was really neat how we were here in the study, and how much, you know, we could owe, you know, Jesus for what he's done for us too. You know, and that's kind of Matthew 4. That's reading through Matthew 4. So if you hear it and want to go through it again, and, you know, reach out and email us at marshfieldoutdoors@gmail.com. I'd love to hear what you have to say about it, if you saw something different. You know, the big thing that I've found for myself, because it's only been a few months that I've actually been reading the Bible, is it kind of fits everybody. You can make it fit something in your life and help talk to you and get through situations in your life. I think we were talking about earlier, you said you hadn't been to church in a while, and I said, well, I haven't been to church in probably 8 years. But knowing that I had a family, and this is a life decision I made. I was baptized in 2015, but you still stray. I mean, all of us that's why Jesus came, to help, cover up those blemishes that we have, because we are not perfect. The great thing about everything that's going on is we get to really enjoy His creation tomorrow. We get to enjoy His creation every time we go in the woods, and it's our respite. It's where we recharge our batteries. But, I want y'all to check out Beackwhackers Waterfowl as well. Tell them where they can find you, Jared.
We're on just about every social media site, Beackwhackers, and if you want to reach out to us, we're on our website is beackwhackerswaterfowl.com.
Got some great hoodies, got some great hats.
Yeah, we got some good stuff going on, some fun stuff going on, and new stuff coming up. Also, beackwhackers@gmail.com. Reach out to us if you want to hunt. Reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. Anything. Come see us. We have a few shows coming up. I know the next one, pretty much at the end of duck season. I apologize, the dog's shaking her head, but we'll be at the Dixie Classic in Raleigh, North Carolina. Mm-hmm. So come down, see us, meet us. We'd love to hear from everybody. And then I know we have more coming up. It's just it's all blur right now. I'm more worried about shooting a duck tomorrow, or worried about them shooting a duck showing up. Yeah. But yeah, we got a few shows, and then like I said, reach out to us online, social media. We're there for you, so just reach out.
Well, I think y'all got a great thing going on. Jason, it's been awesome meeting you tonight. I'd only met Jared. Yeah. And, continue to follow us. Continue to follow along with the Faithful Outdoorsman series. We're going to be in the next part of Matthew, the next chapter of Matthew next week. We're going to go shoot some ducks in the morning. I'm going to film it, and it'll be on our YouTube page. I'm going to be on a lot of Jared's, Beackwhackers Waterfowl, all of their social media, so continue to follow that. I want to thank East Coast Waterfowl for sending up the hats. They're a great sponsor. They're a great group of guys. Kent Jones is top-notch, and I'm sure you'll get a lot out of the commercial. It's going to be playing through your Bear Beans coffee. They didn't make it to the United States in time, but I have Bear Beans coffee for each one of you. They sent it down, or they're sending it down, so I'll get y'all's address and mail it up to you. But this is awesome, man. I really appreciate y'all tagging along with me on this and going through the Faithful Outdoorsman segment of this. It's been great, and look forward to tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. See y'all. Y'all check us out. Continue to follow us, Marshfield Outdoors, on Instagram, Facebook. Our YouTube channel's got all our videos coming out on it now for the podcast, and we'll see you in the woods.